Om Sahana Bhavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Saha Viryankaravavahai Tejasvinavaditamastu Mavit Vishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Let us read the topic. Know thyself. Yeah.
Know thyself. The aphorisms declare the staggering truth that thou art God. Godhood is your essential being at all times. Never have you fallen from that state of divinity. If that be so, you are God before you attain self-realization. So are you God after self-realization. What then determines the marked difference before and after realization? What change does spiritual enlightenment bring about in a person? Is there a change at all? A careful scrutiny will reveal one significant change above all. That is, your awareness of Godhood and all that goes with it. Though Godhood has been your perennial being, you remain unaware of your divine state before you attain enlightenment. Whereas, after enlightenment, you become fully aware of your divinity. That is the difference. There once lived a royal couple. They had a baby boy. In their state, there was a terrible deluge. Half the state was washed away by the floods. The baby prince was thoughtfully placed in a floating cradle. The king and queen were drowned. It was a dreadful blow to the people of the state. The waters receded gradually. The ministers of the state took stock of the situation. They found the bodies of the king and queen, but no trace of the prince. A peculiar birthmark on the baby's left shoulder was the only clue they were left with. They ordered a statewide search for the missing prince, as he was the heir to the throne. The search went on for years while a regent took charge of the administration of the state. In that very state, a beggar was known for long to beg in the marketplace. The shopkeepers knew him. Some obliged, some spurned him. Some were indifferent towards him. At the end of the day, he collected enough money to make a living. He continued thus for over 16 years. One morning, the authorities of the state got hold of the beggar. They drove him to the palace. The regent and the ministers examined him carefully, only to find the peculiar birthmark of the lost prince in his left shoulder. All were amazed at the discovery. They declared the beggar was the missing prince and crowned him king. The entire state rejoiced. The youth took time to realize the full implication of his sudden fortune. It was a year before he settled down and established himself as the lawful king of the state. Having done so, one day he disguised himself with his old beggar clothes and went into the market begging for alms. The shopkeepers were surprised to see him back after a long lapse. He received the same treatment from them. Some obliged, some spurned, some were indifferent. He collected the same amount as before and returned to his royal abode. Carefully analyze the difference between the two experiences, his begging before and after he became the king. On both occasions, he faced variations, fluctuations, alternations in the outer world. In the earlier state, before discovering himself to be the king, he was affected by them. He anxiously looked forward for gains and was disappointed at losses. Whereas later, after discovering his true identity, he remained totally unaffected, indifferent, disinterested in gain or loss. External happening could not in the least affect him. He stood above any worries or anxieties, being totally fulfilled, independent, self-sufficient. It is interesting to note the distinct change in his life. What exactly was the change in his personality? Was it brought about by the beggar becoming king? No, that cannot be the reason, for he was the king before and after his discovery. King even when he was begging in the first instance. The only difference is that earlier he did not know that he was the king, while later he knew himself to be the king. It is the knowledge of his kingship that made him a totally different person. So it is with your life. The kingdom of heaven is within you. You are God. You are not aware of your godhood at present. You know not you are God. Consequently, the perennial alternations of life cause you suffering and sorrow. The variations and fluctuations of this world plague you. The moment you realize yourself, you know yourself to be God. None of these external changes and disturbances affect you. You remain peaceful and blissful, reveling in your own self. That is the difference. Thus must you discover the eternities, thine own self, that thou art.
What is the difference before knowledge and after knowledge? Before knowledge, you don't know. After knowledge, you know. The condition remains the same. Before gaining the knowledge, you didn't know. After gaining the knowledge, you know. So, what is it that you didn't know, and what is it that you know? That is the first point. The second point is, whether you know or you don't know, it remains the same. The fact remains the same. Whether you know it or not, the fact doesn't change. This is the second point. Know thyself. What is the truth? That thou art is the truth. Okay. What does that thou art means? Tattvamasi. What is Tattvamasi means that thou art? Meaning, this is Vedanta. No need to seek anything. That's all. No need to seek anything, no need to attain anything, no need to aspire for anything. This is Vedanta. Because you are infinite already. When you are infinite already, the infinite is trying to seek something which is, the infinite is trying to seek something finite. So what is the staggering truth that thou art says? From one angle, it says you are Brahman, you are God, you are the truth. That is from one angle. Now that angle is that angle doesn't really help us a lot. Okay, how do we understand it from our angle? From our angle, you understand it like that. All human beings are seekers, seeking something. That the art says you need not seek anything. Again, I repeat, all human beings are seekers. If you remember, long back in one of these sessions, we divided human beings into categories. Having said all you human beings are seekers, we divided them into the right seeker and the wrong seeker. Having said all are seekers, then we divided them into the right seeker and the wrong seeker. Now, who is the wrong seeker? The wrong seeker again is of two types. Okay. Wrong. Who's the wrong seeker? Wrong seeker's goal is fulfilling Raga Dvesha is the goal of life. What is the purpose of life? Fulfilling likes and dislikes. Why fulfill likes and dislikes? What is the answer? Why fulfill likes and dislikes? Then only happiness comes, no? Then only happiness comes, no? Then only you get freedom from, three. Seeking means seeking freedom from three. What are the three that you seek freedom from? Freedom from pain, freedom from dukkam, freedom from bandham, freedom from ajnanam. ஞாபகம் வச்சுக்கோப்பா லிஸ்ட் விஜய். Next week நான் மறந்துடுவேன். I will forget next week. So remember, there are three things that use human beings want freedom from. What are the three things? One is freedom from dukkam, pain. We don't want pain. Second is bandham. We don't want to be bound. We don't want to be chained. We like to chain others, but I don't like to get chained. Are you able to understand the difference? Yeah. Teju, that's all. Problem sorted out, isn't it? All problem gets sorted out. All problem is sorted out straight away. What? I don't like to get chained, but I would love to chain others. That's a different story altogether. So first thing is what? Freedom from dukkam. The second is freedom from bandham. The third thing is freedom from ajnanam, ignorance. Freedom from ignorance means not knowing is very irritating. Not knowing is very suffocating. Not knowing is very painful. That's why we want to know, isn't it? Supposing if I say, I have a very important thing to tell you. I'll tell you next week. What will happen? The head will burst, isn't it? Knowing. All these three human beings constantly seek. Are you okay till now? These are the three things that human beings constantly seek. In fact, all species seek only this. All species do only this, isn't it? What is the difference between humans and other species? Hunger, growth, procreation, sleep, taking care of their offsprings. These are all common to all species. These are all common to all species. Hunger, growth, sleep, procreation, taking care of them or taking care of their offsprings. All these are common to all species. And if you were to ask, what is the successful life? Okay, if only you can have a conversation with a mosquito and ask, what is the successful life of a mosquito? What it will say? What will be the successful life of a mosquito? What is the definition of its successful life? Drink as much as blood as possible. Produce as much as possible. Live as long as possible. Correct? All this is common to all species, and human being has this uniqueness. What is that? The human beings has these three. These three causes pain to a human being. What are the three? Bandham causes pain. Dukkam causes pain. Ajnanam causes pain. Therefore, seeking freedom from pain. What is a human being seeking? Seeking freedom from pain. So, one set of people, who do we call as wrong seekers? Now come to that definition. What do that wrong seekers do? One set indiscriminately fulfill raga dvesha as the goal of life, resulting in pain, sorrow, suffering, stress, etc. There is another type of non-seeker, wrong seeker, who also try to fulfill their likes and dislikes. But what do? They draw a boundary to fulfill their likes and dislikes. And what is the boundary that they draw to fulfill their likes and dislikes? The boundary are drawn by values, morals, disciplines, etc. These people also, Vedanta calls it as wrong seeker. Why? Because they are still seeking fulfillment of likes and dislikes only. One person indiscriminately chases, another person discriminately chases. The mistake that people make in thinking is the seeker, the wrong seeker. Okay, the type 2 wrong seeker misunderstood as a spiritual person, misunderstood as a religious person, as a spiritual person, as a good person. That is why they come and say, sir, so many people have told me this also. Even before coming to this class also, I was practicing only Vedanta, sir. Even before coming to class itself, I was practicing. I didn't know that it is Vedanta. Now I know it is Vedanta. I said, very correct. Know thyself, you are talking, isn't it? So what is the difference here? They were pursuing likes and dislikes within a boundary. That boundary made them, the boundary is misunderstood as a religious life or a spiritual life. Vedanta comes and says, no, this is also wrong. What are the technical terms for the wrong seeker type 1 and the wrong seeker type 2? What are the technical names for them? Swarga and Naraka. Very simple. Use these two terms. Down the line, you can understand everything. Swarga means a temporary place of happiness without effort. I have done all the effort. Now I just want to sit and enjoy the benefits of what I have done. Swarga. Very loosely in English, it is translated as heaven. Not the eternal permanent heaven, because there cannot be an eternal permanent heaven. It is only a temporary place. So, wrong seeker type 1. What is the result? Naraka. Wrong seeker type 2. What is the result? Swarga. But both of them are bound by the 3. Both of them are bound by the 3. What are the 3? Dukkam, Bandham, Ajnanam. All the 3 are bondage for both. Having gone through these experiments quite a few times in lives, the human being comes to a conclusion. What is the conclusion they will come to? No more of this. From wrong seeker, I will turn into the right seeker. That is the starting point of Vedanta. That is the Veda Purva. Veda Anta is know thyself. So the starting point of Veda, the starting point of gaining knowledge is what? The starting point of gaining knowledge is from the wrong seeker, I turn into the right seeker. What is meant by the right seeker? The right seeker is one who understands freedom from these 3 is required. Not fulfillment of likes and dislikes, not fulfillment of raga dvesha, but what is the method to get out of these 3? An ordinary human being thinks about all this once in a while, very casually, but do not pursue it. All human beings think all this. Are you okay till now? Venkatachalam. All human beings at some stage in life will think about all this. But they are so casual about this thinking, they don't pursue it any further. Why? Because of the pressure of other likes and dislikes, etc. A few, they take this thinking very seriously. They pursue this thinking very, very seriously. To such seekers, Vedanta guides. To such seeker, Vedanta guides. And how does it guide? It guides by elaborating 6 points. I don't know thyself. It guides human being into 6 points. What are the 6? I will give the Sanskrit name and then the English name simultaneously. The first one is Jiva, the you, body, mind, intellect. First is Jiva. The second is Jagat, universe. You need to know about yourself. When we say here, you need to know yourself, doesn't mean Brahman. Here, you need to know yourself, meaning the Jiva who keeps occupying a body, stays in that body for a while and leave and take up another body. So, Jiva Bhava, first Jiva Buddhi. Second is Jagat. Jagat means what is the world? The world is made up of 5 elements, the 5 types of mineral men, human mineral men. It is made up of minerals, plants, animals, human, the variety. All this is about the Jagat. The third one is God. The first is Jiva, second is Jagat, the third is Ishvara, God. The fourth topic is Bandha, bondage. The discussion of bondage, samsara and all fall under this category. The fifth is freedom from this bondage, loosely called as moksha. The sixth one is the means by which a person moves from bondage to liberation. This is Vedanta. This is the all serious thinkers will need to necessarily know these 6 factors. The person who's interested in knowing these 6 factors is called seeker. So what are we doing in this classrooms? We are talking about the 6. Having learnt about the 6, what do you do? Jnana yogena sankhyanam karma yogena yoginam. Having learnt this knowledge, you proceed. How do you proceed? Chapter 3, verse 3. In the initial stages, you will be called as karma yogi. In the advanced stages, you will be called as jnana yogi. Finally, what? That's where we have come to. In the initial stages, you will be called karma yogi. In the final stages, you will be called jnana yogi. In the advanced stage, not the final stage, in the advanced stage. Upon knowing, what will you say? What will you say? The word yoga itself is wrong. What yoga? As though you are separated at one point of time and now you have to do spiritual practices and then got united. What is this word yoga? Because the word yoga implies a separation. And now you do something and got united. So in the ultimate stage, what will you say? Aham Brahmasmi. This is an academic answer. Yeah. These are all academic. If you are attending classes for some period of time, all academic answers you will give. But what is the real answer? The word yoga itself is wrong. There is no such thing called yoga. Who's doing yoga for what? Who's a yogi? When did separation happen? So that now the person has to unite back. That is the topic, know thyself. This is the way the Purva starts with action, knowing these six, all that has to be done, gradually matures you. And when it comes to the climax, in some movies it will happen, no? That fellow will look like a villain. In the last second, the whole thing gets flipped. So right through, we keep talking about yoga. And finally, what do we say? The word yoga itself is a wrong word. The word yoga itself is a wrong word because united you are already. That's how we say, what is the difference between before knowledge and after knowledge? The Zen monk said, before knowing Zen, mountain will be a mountain. After knowing Zen, mountain will be a mountain. The Zen monk wrote, before knowing Zen, mountain will be a mountain. Okay. After knowing Zen, what will happen? Mountain is Brahmana. Mountain is a mountain. Because they teach through the simple riddles, no? Unsolvable riddles. And unsolvable means so much of material you can gather for contemplation in that. So what happens before knowledge and after knowledge? Before knowledge, you didn't realize that you were free. After knowledge, you realize that you are ever free. Are you able to follow the difference? Okay, I'll give you a simple example. Bondage means that which comes and disturbs you, affects you, even when you don't want it. That is bondage. Freedom is when it wants, it comes. When you say, I don't want, it goes. That is freedom. Are you able to follow? What is freedom and what is bondage? Okay, simple example. I keep giving this example again and long back. I heard this from the from the Acharya here. It's stuck in my head so deeply. If a request is given, if a command is given, clap. Some will clap. Others may not clap. Some others will clap the way that you want to. You are free. When you want to stop clapping, you can stop. That is freedom. Correct? Are you okay with this example? Okay. Now, if I say, get angry for 30 seconds. No? Get angry for 30 seconds. Can you? You have to imagine something to get angry, isn't it? You have to imagine something to get angry. If I say get angry, you can't get angry. Not that we are all angels, no. Not that we are all angels, not that we don't know what anger is, not that we haven't, not that we are not getting angry at all. That is bondage. What is bondage? It does not take permission from you. It simply comes and sweeps you away. That's bondage. Clapping is freedom. Why? Because clapping is freedom. What is freedom here? What is the freedom that you enjoy in clapping? You can choose to clap, you can choose not to clap, or you can choose to whistle. If I say clap, you'll say, I don't like clapping, but I can whistle. Or understand the difference? Now, what is freedom here? What is moksha here? Moksha is the freedom. And freedom as in the absolute freedom. And absolute freedom means what? What is absolute freedom? Absolute freedom means it's a term that we have to use. Actually speaking, this absolute freedom and all cannot be taught at all. The teacher is trying to teach that which cannot be taught. The student is understanding that which is not understandable. That's Vedanta. Both ways, it's the truth. The teacher is trying to teach that which is not, that which cannot be taught. He's trying to teach that, he or she, doesn't matter. The teacher is trying to teach that. And what is the student doing? The student is understanding that which cannot be. The teacher is teaching that which cannot be taught. The student is also understanding and says, yes, yes, yes. Understanding the non-understandable. Looks like one insane group doing this, isn't it? Yeah. Know thyself. What is know thyself now? Are you able to follow? What is know thyself? Before having the knowledge, you are hoping freedom, you are wanting to get freedom, ready to do anything to become free. After attaining freedom, you understand what? After attaining freedom, you understand that bondage never happened. Adha know thyself. This is where it gets so. This is where it gets very. One thing that we need not work for is to become more ignorant. We are ignorant, isn't it? But we have a freedom to gain knowledge. That freedom. When you gain that freedom, you understand. Know thyself. The story is given. It's a very famous Upanishadic story. It's a very, very famous Upanishadic story. And the story comes in almost 3 Upanishads. The story comes. What is that story? We keep talking about the story a lot. The beggar who was begging, when he believed that he is a beggar, the same person begging with the understanding that he is the king. What is the difference between the two? Is the difference between knowledge and wisdom. Is the difference between ignorance and knowledge. It's a very elaborate story. The Upanishads gives a very elaborate story. The flood, the palace is inundated. Just to safeguard the prince. The prince was put in the cradle, and it just floated, and somebody pulled it out, and the child survived in the nearby town. The child grew up. What the child can do? It can only beg, isn't it? What the child can do? It can only beg. The king, when he loses the kingdom, you know what happens to the king when the kingdom is lost? He cannot go and become a CEO of a company. Yeah? He cannot do that. What he will end up doing? Anybody? The king loses the kingdom, there's only one thing that he can do, beg. Because the fellow won't know anything else. He just won't know anything, he just don't know what else he can do. He can't become a farmer, he can't become a trader, he can't become a carpenter, he can't do. So what can he do? He can only beg. So this child started begging. And what is the life of a beggar? What is the life of a beggar? No period difference illa. Number life and beggar life no period difference illa. Same life. Our life and life of the beggar is exactly the same. No big difference at all. What is the difference? Why do we say it is the same life? I keep begging. Sometimes somebody obliges. Somebody spurns. Correct? This is the life of the beggar. No, you go and beg. Somebody will offer something. Someday somebody will say yes. Someday somebody will say get lost, isn't it? I go and beg, love me, love me. Suddenly one day somebody will say, I love you, isn't it? Somebody else will say, I don't love you. This is the life of the beggar. So sometimes you will get, sometimes you will be thrown out. Some will simply say, some will turn indifferent. They will follow. Some will oblige, some will spurn, some will simply turn indifferent, and this is the life of a beggar. But overall, what he will do at the end of the day, overall, what will happen? He will collect enough to survive for the day. Yeah, this is the life of the beggar, and this is the life of all human beings. They knew the birthmark. Birthmark is the only way to identify the person. Yeah. Maybe they didn't have biometrics, iris scanner, they didn't have. So they were going by the birthmark. And that fellow was found by the birthmark. And the missing prince is found. Who's that missing prince? The beggar is that missing prince. The beggar is found. It took a while for the beggar to realize that he is the prince. Okay, now he realized that he is the prince. One day, he suddenly wanted to have the fun. What he did, he put on his beggar's clothes and went back to the same market where he was begging before. Everybody in the market were surprised to see him after a long time. He received the same treatment. What is the same treatment? What is the treatment? Some obliged, some turns away, some indifferent. That didn't change. And he collected the same few coins. This is where knowledge starts. What is the difference between the two experiences? What is the difference between the two experiences? When he was a beggar, where he thought he was a beggar, obliging, spurning, indifferent, all affected him. Now, all three doesn't affect him. That's only difference. Previously, somebody obliged, you'll feel so happy. Somebody spurns, he used to feel very, the joy, the hurt, the pain, the sorrow, all these fluctuations. Now, when he go as the king, what happened? He was anxiously looking forward. Yeah, anxiety. Anxiety, desperation. What is anxiety and what is the desperation? In front of every shop, there is an anxiety, desperation. What is anxiety and desperation? I should get, isn't it? Bhavati Bhiksham Dehi. He goes and asks Bhavati, please give me. Bhavati means you. Bhiksham means give me. Dehi, give. Please give me something. Please give me something. Please give me something. And when he's asking in front of everybody, please give me something, please give me something, what was happening? Anxiety, expectation. What is anxiety? What is expectation? Anxiously looking forward for gains, and when a few coins comes, jumping with joy, and when he's spurned, disappointed at losses. This is the life of who? Happiness at gains and disappointment and pain at losses is the life of beggar. If I am living a if I am leading a life like that, who am I? Aham Brahmasminu சொல்றதுக்கு பதிலா aham beggar asmin சொல்லணும் போல, isn't it? Yeah. Aham Brahma asminன்றதுக்கு பதிலா aham beggar asmi. The difference is the knowledge. Previously, he is so convinced that he is the beggar. Now he has understood what? Now he's understood that he is the king. With the story, Vedanta ends. What to do now? After talking everything, what to do? Conclude with the very, very innocuous, simple story. What is that story? Before begging, after begging. What is the difference? Know thyself. Even when he was begging, he was the king. He didn't know it. It is not that the beggar became the king. The king temporarily was behaving like the beggar. Correct? The king was temporarily living a beggarly life because of ignorance, not knowing. Don't say fate, fate, suffering, not our. Before that, he didn't know. Now, so even when he was begging, he wasn't a beggar. He's only the king. The variations, the fluctuations, the alternations doesn't disturb. Why it doesn't disturb? It doesn't disturb because the knowledge has gotten into him. What is the knowledge? King means what? Rajavat, isn't it? The Upanishad, quoting the Upanishad, Shankaracharya in Atmabodha says Rajavat. Rajavat Sada. Like the king always. Brahman is like the king always. Who's the king? Owning everything, though there may be individual title holders, isn't it? He will go to the hotel. There will be individual, there will be a person owning the hotel. But when the king goes, it becomes his hotel, isn't it? When the king goes to the temple, it becomes the king's temple. Wherever he go, or the whole thing is his. That is the king. Similarly, what is the knowledge of Vedanta? Now we come back to the knowledge. What is the knowledge? What is the knowledge that we don't have now that is making us go through these fluctuations? What is the knowledge that we don't have now? What is the problem? Ignorance is the problem. Vedanta becomes meaningful only when you are convinced ignorance is the problem. As long as you don't understand ignorance as the problem, knowledge will never be a solution. What is ignorance? You know very well, you know very well what you do not want me to do to you, correct? You know that very well. Everybody knows that. Everybody knows that. You know very well what you do not want me to do to you, correct? You want the people, the whole world, the fire, the sun, entire solar system, everything to behave properly towards you. Correct? Everything to behave properly towards you in the way that you want. Even if you are a thief, not really, nobody's a thief here. Yeah, I'm just saying. Even if you are a thief here, who has come to rob with a knife in hand and ask the person in the house, where are the keys? What is your expectation? What is your expectation? Even at that situation, what is your expectation? Savi enga, you ask with the knife in hand, you ask the person in the house, where are the keys? What do you expect answer? You expect the person to tell the truth, no? Correct? Even then, what do you expect? You expect the person to tell you the truth. What is the truth? Where are the keys? Na? Idam the keys. That means you want the whole world to behave in a manner. What is it that you don't have a problem at all? Everybody should be caring. Everybody should be loving. Everybody should be telling the truth. Nobody should be deceptive. Nobody should be angry with you. We are very, very clear. Correct? Are you okay till now? Huh? Ravi, are you okay till now? This clarity is called ignorance. This clarity that you have is called ignorance. Why? Are you able to follow? It is so clear that everybody should behave like this towards you. This clarity is called ignorance. Why this clarity? Vedanta calls it as ignorance. Because it is half right. What is the other half? What is the other half? Okay, this is one half. What is the other half? The people, the whole world, the fire, the sun, the entire solar system, all of them expects the same thing from you. That is the other half. Are you able to follow now? What you expect from the totality is what the totality expects from you. In this, what you can do? In this, what you can do? You can want the people, the world, the fire, the sun, the solar system, all of them you can try to change. Other thing is, you can change your perception. Vedanta comes and says, when you change your perception, everything changes around you. Because you are wearing a colored glass and looking at it through that colored glass. If you wear a blue colored glass and see things, everything will appear blue. You wear a pink color, everything will appear pink. You wear a green, everything will appear green. You remove the glasses, everything will appear as it is. This is the definition of knowledge. Knowledge is that which reveals it as it is. இருக்கிறத இருக்கிற மாதிரி காட்டுறதுக்கு பேர் தான் knowledge. Again I repeat, knowledge is that which reveals it as it is. Some people say experience alone you can learn, sir. Experience is the best teacher. Vedanta comes and says experience is not the best teacher. In fact, experience doesn't teach you anything at all. Why? What is the proof? If only we all can learn from our experiences, we all have become Buddhas by now. Because we all have enough experiences of life. Having gotten all these experiences of life, what have we learned? Nothing. Therefore, experiences is not going to teach. Then what can teach? The scripture alone can teach. That scripture alone can teach. And that scripture being a book, a word, the word got to be necessarily learned under a teacher. You cannot do it by yourself. You cannot do it by yourself. Experiences don't teach. Nothing is capable of teaching you the realities of life. What can teach? The scriptures alone can teach. And when we say scripture, we mean the book. And what is book? What is the definition of a book? Collection of words put together. What is the definition of a book? It's a collection of words. And that word has to be, taught. But self-help is the best help, no, sir? Self-help books. Vedanta will say that category itself should not exist. Because the book has to be necessarily studied under the guru. You cannot do it by yourself. Why? Because the guru can teach according to your qualification. The guru can teach according to your qualification. And whenever we talk about qualification, we misunderstand it as discrimination. Oh, why are they discriminating? Who are they to discriminate? that only if you pass NEET, you can join a medical course. Discrimination, no? Correct? Yes or no? Yes or no? Huh? Sheer discrimination. If I don't pass NEET, does it mean I can't study medicine? Who are you to decide that? Okay. Somebody has joined the medical course, passed out as a doctor. Will you go to that person? If you go to that person, you say, Dharma will protect you. God will save you. That fellow cannot save you. Dharma has to come and protect you. God alone has to. Why? Because for all education to happen, education can happen, teaching can happen only according to the qualification. This is called adhikari. Cat is adhikari. Why do you have to write cat? There's an exam called the cat, no? Cat, matter, dat, isn't it? What is all this? What are they doing there? If you have to study this, the teacher says, if you have to study this, prove that you are qualified to study this. Then only I can teach you. Self-help. What? Self-help engineer, self-help doctor, self-help lawyer, self-help accountant. Isn't it? But in reality, what will happen? In reality, if this is allowed, what will happen? Self-help is the very fastest way for self-destruction. Everybody will get destroyed. Vedanta comes and says, no, you have to learn it from the scriptures, and the scriptural words can only be taught by the Guru. And when the Guru does it, according to the qualifications, adhikaritvam, it will be taught. When Krishna spoke to Arjuna, he spoke a different language. When Krishna spoke to Uddhava, he spoke a different language. There are two Gitas, one author having two Gitas. To Arjuna, it is called Bhagavad Gita. To Uddhava, it is called Uddhava Gita. And you read both, it is impossible to believe that it is the same person who has spoken these two. Why? The adhikaris are different. To the Uttama adhikari, to the highest qualified person, Vedanta says, drop the very notion of union, yoga, and all. Why? Because what you are seeking, you are that already. What you are wanting, what you are seeking, you are that already. If you are that already, what needs to be done? Simply know it. Just know it. But I have heard it so many times. I have heard it 1,000,000 times. But still nothing is happening. Though having heard it 1,000,000 times, nothing is happening. You didn't hear at all. The truth is you didn't hear. Why? Because the hearing hasn't stirred anything. The hearing hasn't stirred anything in you. What is the stirring called? Mumukshatva. Having heard it so many times, that mumukshatva should get stirred up. For that person who has developed this mumukshatva, who has gotten this mumukshatva, what do? You do whatever is prescribed. The last point. You remember the 6 points that we said? Jiva, Jagat, Ishvara, Abram, Bandha, Abram, Moksha, and then sadhana. The last one, sadhana. Sadhana means jnana yogena sankyanam karma yogena yoginam. The last chapter in this book, Know Thyself, concludes. What is the conclusion? You are that already. You are that already. And you are that already means that thou Tattvamasi. With this, we conclude the text Vedanta Treatise. Know thyself. Ganesh, we don't remember when we started this in your house, isn't it? I don't remember even when we started.
Something in 2013, sir.
2013, huh? Oh. Oh, we finished it so fast, huh? Oh my God. Just 7, 8 years, 8, 9 years only took this. Okay. Abdinna, we have to redo it again. Abdinna, that is too fast. We should redo it again. So, with this, we conclude the text. The Wednesday sessions will continue. A couple of weeks, we'll just take up any general questions from anywhere in the text or anything in general also we'll take up for a couple of weeks, and then we will move back into the we'll move back into the text again. அப்புறம் அந்த சைக்கிளையும் முடியலன்னா தேஜு again we will restart till you say enough of you, thank you, isn't it? Till you say that. With this, we conclude for today and we meet next week.